Hurricanes, broken legs, kids, and Halloween. Oh my! Every time we cruise, we learn new things. Well, several members of the Dis Unlimited team got to cruise on the Disney Dream out of Fort Lauderdale, and we learned oh so much. We're going to tell you all about it. That's today on the Dis Unlimited's DCL Show. Hello and welcome back to the Dis Unlimited's DCL Show. I'm Chris Forbeck, one of the agents at Dreams Unlimited Travel. Thanks so much for being here with us. We got to cruise on the Disney Dream, and as I mentioned, every time we cruise, we just learn something new. And we learned oh so much. I often say to folks, yes, we share all those details with other Dreams agents, but today we're going to share that with you, so you can be ready for your magical Disney cruise and look at the amazing group that I have here today. We have, of course, Dreams Unlimited travel agent and my friend and colleague, Elaine Edwards. Hello, Elaine.
Hi, friends.
And also from the Dis Unlimited, the Dis, and by the way, a Dreams Unlimited travel agent, Hannah Anderson. Hello, Hannah.
Hello, thank you for having me.
And she's our broken leg candidate, so we'll be talking about
Spoiler
accessibility.
alert, yeah.
Yeah, I know. She was scootering around. We saw her. Dreams Unlimited travel agent and one of the team of our Spanish-speaking agents. You can also find her on our Spanish podcast, See Disney. Luz Morales. Luz, how are you?
Hi, everyone. So happy to be here. I'm missing you already, guys. Missing you a lot.
I know. It was so good to hang out. I was saying on board that I usually see Luz like this. So, we usually talk each other this way. So it was great I got to hang out with her and we got to all meet families and all sorts of stuff. It was great. And of course, we have our amazing producer who's going to be, he's back there in the background. He's not going to say anything even, but Jimmy, the amazing Jimmy Valdez. Hello, Jimmy. And see, he's not saying anything. He's being quiet. There you go. And great to all be together. Every time we cruise, we just learn so much and finding out what's changed, what may be different than we expected. And as I said, we often share that stuff amongst our other Dreams agents because it keeps us all informed. But this time, so much to cover. This was a Halloween on the High Seas itinerary. Hannah, as I mentioned, was in a scooter. So we'll talk about accessibility stuff. I got to purchase an upgrade to Concierge. Yes, I was bougie. I got to see the new Concierge staterooms on the Disney Dream, and they also have they've expanded the lounge. They've expanded the Concierge pool deck. So we'll talk a little about that. Liz's daughter just turned 18. We celebrated her birthday, and she also got to experience Palo for the first time. So we'll talk about that. So much to review. But first, I'd like to remind you that this show, along with everything we do at the Dis Unlimited, DCL Fan, UO Fan, it's all brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. We are experts at helping you plan a magical Disney cruise, a visit to a magical Disney theme park, your Universal adventure. Oh, epic. So cool. Even other cruise lines. There's no additional cost to book with Dreams Unlimited Travel. None. But we're going to give you insights about your Disney cruise ship, your destinations, your visit to that magical Disney theme park, or your Universal adventure. This is what we do. And by booking your cruise, whether it's a Disney cruise or other cruise line, by booking your cruise with Dreams Unlimited Travel, you're going to get a shipboard credit of up to $1,000, depending on the price of your cruise. I know everyone says, okay, nothing's for free. This is one of these cases where you are getting free money to spend on board, and it don't cost you nothing. Not a bad deal. Best way to get started, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. And I always note, by way of transparency, Elaine, Hannah, Luz, me, we are all Dreams Unlimited travel agents. Yes, this is our job. But I was talking to somebody on board, Hunter. Hello, Hunter. And I said, we love what we do. And yes, we really love this stuff. Disney, Universal. Yes, we LOVE, Disney Cruise Line. We absolutely want you to have the best time possible. And I often see people who bill their podcasts as honest, and I'm not calling them out. Really, you do you. It's great. We are not going to be dishonest, but I don't think this is breaking news. We have a bias. We love Disney Cruise Line. And as Disney fans know, sometimes we are even more critical than those otherwise because we care about this stuff oh so much. So our jobs here on this podcast, and frankly, as travel agents, is to provide you with information so you can make the best decision for you and your family. We hope you book with Dreams. It allows us to do this. But if you don't, it's all good. We hope you have an amazing time. One other note of transparency. Yes, we paid for these cruises, but we did get a discount from Disney Cruise Line. So it wasn't a full price trip. So Disney hosted kind of, and I paid for my upgrade. So at the port. So there, that's all. Elaine, quick bit of news before we dive into this cruise is I noted that Disney Cruise Line is now doing these half-off deposits. They often do this where it makes it easier. This one's a little different because guess what? It's half off of they reduced deposits earlier. So they reduced, it used to be 20% deposit. Then they changed it. So now it's 10% deposit with a half off, 5% deposit. Like, oh my goodness, that's not a bad, it's more limited, but not a bad deal, right?
Yeah, so they run this promotion. I say promotion in quotes because we want to kind of make this clear. This is not a discount. The price of your cruise has not changed. It's just you're paying a little less up front, make it a little easier. And they kind of do it every year, typically in the end of the year into the new year. They will generally run this. It is a promotion that we've gotten the last several years. And so right now I have the dates in front of me. It just came out and it will run until January 18th of 2026 for sailings departing between March 2026 and May 2027. You can use it on all of the ships, but this does not get combined with any, like if you have a placeholder, this doesn't get combined with like the reduced deposit on the placeholder, so you're not paying like 2.5% or anything like that. So we're not going that low on you, but it is a good, Disney Cruise Line knows we've all got expenses right now, but it's kind of a nice kind of a thing, especially if we have a lot of people that like to gift cruises for the holidays. Yeah. So this kind of just makes it a little bit easier.
And the other thing we often get asked is, can I pay for my cruise over time? The answer is absolutely. So if you're booking a cruise that's all the way out in May 2027, divide that up and chunk a month, and it makes it a lot more accessible to folks. Yeah, if they did combine those discounts, people be looking in the Starbucks couches to see. I mean, it'd be so little, but you can't combine them, unfortunately. But yeah, I think it's a good deal. You can find more DCLfan.com. They have all the details, and of course, reach out to a Dreams Unlimited travel agent. We're happy to help you. All right, let's talk about this cruise, and we're going to talk about Port Everglades a bit, but we have a whole show focused on Port Everglades. DCLshow.com/Port Everglades guide, so you can find all the stuff about. Generally, we're going to focus more on this cruise, but. We often are, and we're going to do another show talking about where we stayed. So that'll be coming up very soon. A quick overview of our trip. We were on a 5-night Western Caribbean cruise departing from Fort Lauderdale's Port Everglades on the Disney Dream. We got to visit Cozumel, Mexico, and Disney Castaway Key with sea days in between. I brought my friend Kristen, who, by the way, had an amazing, stunning Cruella de Vil Halloween costume. And it was funny because our boss, John Magi, asked if I was going to wear a costume. And I told him, I wear a costume every day. My goodness, what's the difference? But Hannah, who did you bring with you?
I this time brought my parents who had not been on a Disney cruise and we didn't realize so long, 7 years. So they're familiar with Disney Cruise Line. But it also was their first Disney cruise with my son Owen, who is 3, and this was his third cruise with Disney. So yeah,
he's
we had a
racing to be
great
platinum
time.
by age 6. It's amazing.
We're working on it. That's the hope.
Luz, who did
We
you
got
bring
high
with you?
goals for this child.
Thank you, Chris. I brought my sweet husband with me and also my 18-year-old daughter. She just turned 18 last week, and also she finished high school, so it was a kind of big celebration for our family.
So there were a bunch of unusual things that happened on our trip, and we're going to talk about a bunch of these. The Hurricane Melissa, the big, ginormous hurricane that went from like a tropical storm to a 5 in a matter of, felt like seconds, was going on. Didn't impact us at all. It was a Halloween on the High Seas cruise. But I wanted to start off getting everyone's, and Les, I'm going to have you start. Talk a little bit about just top line impressions. How was your cruise? Do you have a good time? Any particular highlights?
Oh, we had an amazing time, Chris. Thank you for asking. My family and I enjoyed very much everything, the shows, the food, to get the meet and greets with the characters, with the pirate costumes, with the Halloween costumes. Really, it was a wonderful experience. We enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. And Hannah, how your overall experience? We're going to dive in because Hannah, as I mentioned, was in a scooter, and we're going to talk a little bit about accessibility. She had an accessible room and all those things. But just top level, how was the cruise overall?
Yeah, it was we couldn't get over just we had such a great time, and as you mentioned Hurricane Melissa, I think I told you Chris on board I was like there's a 10% chance we're going to be able to dock at Castaway. And sure enough, we docked at Castaway and the weather was picture perfect, and it was a really special cruise. My son really enjoyed all the Halloween on the Sea high seas characters and the entertainment and the trick or treating. And it was definitely one of those core memory trips that he's going to talk about for a long time to come. Also, I had not sailed on the Dream in a couple of years, and the
Mm,
service was phenomenal. I think this was a standout cruise for me in terms of service everywhere, not just the dining team, but some of the different bartenders and our stateroom hosts and guest services. This might be the best service I've ever had on a Disney cruise, and as you guys know, the service on Disney Cruise Line is already spectacular. So it was one of the best cruises we've ever experienced.
I 1,000% agree with you. I thought service was just top notch this time, and it's funny because we've heard anecdotally as Disney Cruise Line has grown, we've heard some people have issues, and this didn't work, and this didn't work. And in fact, I mentioned Hunter earlier. They were saying that their food didn't arrive cold for them. Um, Now, one of the things I always say is if you have issues, you need to bring up those issues, and there's a whole dining team. You can talk to your head waiter, you can talk to guest services, bring that up. Disney can't fix something they don't know about. So be sure to raise those issues if you do have problems. And generally I had clients who their dining team just, I think they were new, and just wasn't quite working out for them. And so they raised that with the head waiter, and they got shifted to a different place, and it was and ended up working out great for them. So be sure to bring that stuff up. Let's talk a little bit about how we all got there, because um, Luz and I both flew into Fort Lauderdale and stayed overnight. We're going to talk about those hotels later. One of the things that I always stress to folks, and it was so, and it's funny, don't you need to come in off of Southeast 17th Street and Eisenhower Boulevard. There's a big new Omni Hotel that's right there. If you come in other ways, a lot of the maps will take you other ways in. You have to go through a security checkpoint. This is a working port, and it's one of the biggest ports in the world in terms of getting oil and gas in there. So they will check stuff. And so you can not have to do that if you come in off the Southeast 17th Street side. And it's right near, if you stay at one of the Disney hotels, it's that side. It's weird. Some of the apps bring you around in a different way. And so it's crazy. But so just make note of that. How was the drive down? Because you drove down day of, right, Hannah?
I sure did. So, obviously, I live in the Orlando area, and so we chose to drive down morning of. Took about 3.5 hours. So not really not bad. We also didn't experience any traffic either on the way there or the way back, which was fantastic. And then to your point, once we got there, I did rely on GPS, even though I knew that exactly what you said, but we just went with GPS, and so we did. Go through just a checkpoint. They asked for the IDs of everyone 18 up in the car. Pretty quick, easy process. There is a lot of construction in that area by the
Yeah.
port. So that's the only thing I would say. Also, if you put in Port Everglades in your GPS, there's also like a Port Everglades neighborhood in Fort
Right.
Lauderdale. So just look for it'll actually have like a cruise ship symbol next to the one you want to go to. So you want to go to the Port Everglades cruise ship terminal. So I did notice that in there as well. But I mean, really, I think if, I get this question from clients who are trying to do both Walt Disney World in Orlando and a cruise from Fort Lauderdale. And I think driving's a good option.
Yeah.
Renting, there's other ways to do it, obviously, but I think it was an easy enough drive, and then that kind of allows you to have your own schedule and a little bit more flexibility. And yeah, easy. It's 3.5 hour drive, no traffic both ways. So.
Luz rented a car, so I want to ask her about that. But before that, I wanted to, Hannah, talk a little bit about at the port. Again, you're in a
Hmm.
scooter. And
Hmm.
how was the accessibility stuff when you get to the port? How was that experience?
Yeah, so it's I have to tell you, I think I like Port Everglades a little bit better. It just seems the parking garage seems like there's more spaces available, and the drop-off process doesn't get as backed up as maybe Port Canaveral. But yeah, it was actually very easy. I do have an accessible placard for my car right now, so I parked literally right in front of the elevator. We dropped off our luggage before parking, so we were virtually hands-free. And then also, so for this cruise, chose to rent a scooter and have it delivered to the ship,
Yeah.
just because with, a car full of luggage, also fitting a scooter in there wasn't an option for us. So I brought my own wheelchair to be able to get from my car to the scooter on the cruise ship. They do have wheelchairs available, but they're first come, first serve. And if you're immobile like me, I don't think that's a good option. You want to have something to be able to get you on the ship. But yeah, it was easy. Yeah, no
And was
problems
your
at all.
scooter, delivered scooter, was that delivered in the ship to you in the ship, or where did you pick that up?
Yeah, so I will say I'm curious to do this again on an upcoming sailing, because all the email communication, I use a company called Scoot Around, and I saw on board, I saw both that company and excuse me, and the special needs group
Right.
are two companies that I know deliver directly to the ship. On the email communication, it said that it would be delivered to the room because I did have an accessible room. That was not the case. It was delivered to deck two outside of Enchanted Garden. I guess that's where they charge the scooters. I
Oh,
picked up
okay.
the key from guest services. And then at the end of the cruise, I also dropped it off deck two midship, and left the
Okay.
key in the scooter. So a little
Okay.
bit of a learning curve
Did you
for
and
that.
how
So
did
just
they sent you an email letting you know all those details, right?
so their email to me said it was going to be delivered to the stateroom. So
So when you got
then
to the port and it's not in the state, or did you go to the stateroom first and say it's not there, or how did that all work?
I did. So I went to the stateroom and I called them
Okay.
and I said, "Hey, my scooter's," because I kind of panicked. I was like, "I'm not going
Right.
to be able to do this cruise, I don't think, without my scooter." And so I called them. They're like, "No, got delivered to the ship. Call guest services." So I called guest
Okay.
services, and I have to tell you, guest services was incredible because I realized this right before the muster drill. And
Mm.
the muster drill it's a lot because it's
Yeah.
all 3,000 people on board going to centralized areas on the ship. So I was like, I really want the scooter. And guest services was great. They actually brought it to my stateroom and I made the muster drill on time.
Awesome.
So I'm thinking
Sorry for
I'll
getting a
let you
little in the
guys
weeds, but I
know.
think that stuff matters because people can get
Yeah,
and particularly when somebody tells you one thing and then another thing is true. So just be aware that that may be the case. Luz,
right.
you got to the port. You guys had a rental car. Talk to us about that experience. What was it like returning the rental car? All those things.
Yeah, sure. We flew in internationally, and it was an easy process. We left the terminal and went to the building outside the terminal where you are going to find all the rental companies, all the rental car companies. So we already have a car reserved. We already have a contract. So we went there. It was an easy process, and then it was in the third level of the building for all the car rental. Then you sign your papers and you go out directly to the garage. So you look at your car, take your car, and you go out from the parking lot. Okay. So it was really easy. We didn't have any trouble. No, it was super easy, really. So we have to do some shopping before boarding, and that's why we decided to rent a car because it was cheaper, sorry, than have Ubers taking us from one place to the other. So
Right.
also we needed a company that provide us a shuttle from the place where we left the car to the cruise terminal. That was very important for us because of course you don't want to pay extra for that. So we have
Right.
the car that night, and the next day we went to the car rental company. We left the car there and we took the shuttle to the cruise terminal. It was about 5 minutes. I don't know if I can say the company. We
Yeah.
rented,
Go.
it's okay if I say the company?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Okay. Yeah, we use
I remember it
budget.
was budget, right? Wasn't it budget?
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
budget. So basically because first they have the best price, and second they have as I mentioned before, the shuttle. That was very important for us.
So did you
So
have
we
to
arrive at
schedule
the
the shuttle and
terminal.
tell them that you were going to do the shuttle before when
No,
you were
no.
renting the car?
No, there's no need to do that. They
Great.
they offer the shuttle, and it comes and goes from the where you drop the car to the terminal every 20-25 minutes.
Great.
But if the shuttle is delayed, they give you a phone number where you can call and you say, okay, I'm waiting for the shuttle. I've been here for X time, and please, can you please come here and take me to the cruise port. So really easy process. We took as I mentioned before, we took the shuttle. We went to the cruise port, and super nice. And by the way, we stay at the just let me check the name of the hotel. We stay at the Courtyard by Marriott, Fort Lauderdale Airport and Cruise Port. That was the hotel we chose for our pre-cruise night.
And it's close to the airport. We're going to talk about hotels in another shows, and she'll give us our full detail. It's right near the railroad track was the big thing that I took away from it. So just be careful. But we'll talk about that later. The one other question I had about the rental car was your drop off at the airport, or was it at the near in the Port Everglades area itself? I know there are a couple that have like drop offs in Port Everglades in the facilities. Where did you have to drop off your car?
When we returned the car,
Yeah.
yeah, it was near the cruise ship.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
near
Yeah, there are a
near
couple that
near Port
have
Everglades. It was a 3 minute ride
great.
for
That's
when
awesome.
where
Lovely.
we dropped the car. Yeah, 3 minute ride.
I lifted from I was staying at the W Hotel in Fort Lauderdale Beach and lifted right there. It was super easy. I will tell you my experience. So when you get to the port, you can go in, and it's after you do the initial check-ins. There's a separate desk where you can check and see if there are upgrades available. So I went and checked. My upgrade from I think it was in a 4B or something like that, going up to Concierge 3A, was about, I want to say, a little bit more than $2,000. So you can check and see if those are available. They probably will be, and it all depends. They have a whole chart that will tell you how much it is. So, but it's not right where you check in. You can ask them where you go, and they'll point it out to you. It's over on the backside, and you can check and see if there are availability. And there were several on this ship. The Disney Dream, having gone through a dry dock, has added a whole bunch of concierge staterooms. There are a whole slew of them on deck 10, kind of midship. Um, uh, and we're going to talk. This is a good transition to staterooms. So we were in a deck 10 midship. One of the things that I'm not a big fan about on the Dream class ships is deck 10. You are right below the pool deck, and so you hear the pitter patter of feet. You hear deck chairs moving and stuff like that. So just be aware of that if you're booking a deck 10. Be aware that you can hear some noise from above. I'm a pretty good sleeper, so it didn't keep me up or anything, but you definitely hear it. So, Hannah, talk a little bit about your accessible room, because you got an accessible room for this cruise.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and actually, this is the first time I've had an accessible stateroom. It was an ocean view on deck 6. Specifically, it was 6186. So it's a very aft of the ship, and it's kind of in the corner. So
Yep.
you get a little bit larger of a stateroom. And I have to say, if you have mobility concerns, and you are using a wheelchair or a scooter, I think obviously an accessible room. I don't know how you could do it without it.
Yeah.
But it was really great because I was able to bring the scooter in and charge it. I used a wheelchair when I was in the stateroom. The bathroom is it's one bathroom, so it's not a split bathroom, but it's, all one level, and there's grab bars and the detachable shower head, and yeah, there's a shower seat in there.
And
So it
no, it
definitely.
does not have it's not, you don't have the bathtub, right? So you can, like, literally, if you need to, scoot into the shower, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So it is just a shower. And I was a little concerned having not done this before because it's all one room and
Right.
it's an open shower with a wraparound curtain. I was worried about water getting everywhere, and it really didn't. I was kind of shocked. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. And because it's in the corner of the ship, there are two of the larger portholes, so that was nice to be able to have a little bit of a view out. So yeah, it was like I said, if you're using a scooter or wheelchair, I think accessible is really the only way to go. One thing that I this is the first time I've ever done this. So there were four of us in the stateroom. And my son is 3, so I wasn't quite sure if he could handle the top bunk, the upper berth. And the
Right.
stateroom host will actually put the mattress on the floor for you.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was a really great option. If you are in a stateroom and need to use that top bunk, but don't actually want to sleep on the top bunk, that gives you another option. And thankfully, it being an accessible room, we have plenty of room to do that.
The other question I have for you about this particular stateroom was this had a veranda, I believe. Was it the one where it's solid below, so they call it a white wall, or was it still glass where you could see out?
This actually, it was just an ocean view with porthole
Okay,
windows. So
great.
I did not have a veranda in
Okay,
this
awesome.
one. So yes, unfortunately I can't speak to that. And actually I did ask about upgrades at the port to see if there were any accessible verandas. There were not, but they gave me a tip that I had never heard before either, that after muster drill around 5 p.m., I guess they do their like final inventory check. And I
Right.
guess if there aren't upgrades at the port, there's a tiny chance there would be after that. So, anyways, if you're looking for an upgrade, that may be an option for you. It wasn't for us, but always worth a shot, right? And then
In
if
the
it for us, it didn't work out, but then we knew.
in the accessibility stuff, was there anything you had to request of cruise line before you got there, and anything? This is new for you. I should say, Hannah was just taking a step, and broke her ankle and had to have surgery, and so she's like, you were saying before we started, like, it's been 7 weeks since you walked, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it was a bad break. So
yeah,
you're not going to have to
yeah.
be
So
this way
I'm
forever, and it's
new.
not something you've done forever. So this is all new to you.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing I let Disney Cruise Line know ahead of time, and even if you book with a travel agent or your travel agent can do this for you, there is a special services form. And I did let them know that I would be using a mobility device for a port adventure. And that was
Mm.
great because, there are accessible port adventures, and it says that when you go to book your activities. But by me notifying them of that, they notified me to come talk to the Port Adventures desk, and they were able to go through the specifics of the port adventure
Awesome.
and kind of what to expect to make sure that that aligned with what I could do.
That's great to know.
But that was it. I didn't request anything else.
Uh, and I'm sorry, I should also note that Elaine was not able to join us. She had family duties, and so she had to take care of her kids, which is the job number one. Um, but so she wasn't able to join us on this cruise. But she's going to, Elaine, feel free to pipe in anytime you have questions. She's going to just
I do
shout off.
want to
Yeah,
just kind of clarify something that is kind of, we're getting a lot of questions about, and we're seeing and we're experiencing a change. Chris had mentioned about how he upgraded
upgrade.
at the port. Now, it used to be that upgrading at the port was very well known because you could upgrade at a discount. And we have been seeing from people's experiences in the last few weeks that they are, and from cast members even telling us that they are no longer doing that. You can still upgrade, but you are
Right.
pretty much paying rack rate or pretty close to it. It is not any of these, you're going to be able to, as he said, you're not going to be able to upgrade to concierge for $200 or anything like
Sure.
that. So just be aware of that, that you're not really looking to upgrade at a discount. So
It's
a lot of people use that as a kind of one of their, booking games, that they book a lower class of room and they upgrade at the port and that kind of thing. And it's not really to your advantage anymore to do that. It's better to book what you want, especially if you're booking with Dreams Unlimited Travel, because that extra amount that you upgraded at the port, we can't give you any extra shipboard credit for that. Whereas if you would have
right.
did it in advance, you could have got extra shipboard credit for that. So
Eh,
make sure, I'm just kind of letting people know to plan ahead, that that's not really a thing anymore. So
It is such a good point, and I will tell you, because this ship now has a tower suite, which they call the Dream Suite on the Disney Dream, and it was empty because you can see it from a bar. I personally wouldn't get that suite because you don't get any outside view. You look forward at a bar, but I could look in and I could see that there was no one in there, and at night no lights were on and anything. So they'll let them go empty, and they're not going to sell them for $200. So it's a great point. Luz, tell us a little bit about your stateroom. What kind of what you were on a veranda stateroom, if I remember correctly.
Yes, we were in stateroom 7614. It was a deluxe family ocean view with veranda. This stateroom has a capacity to accommodate 5 guests. We were only 3 people, so we have a lot of space for us. This is the first time we use this kind of stateroom. We booked this kind of stateroom because before we have stayed at the family veranda, but not deluxe. Okay, so it is much better. The bathtub is actually circular, and it has a really nice
It's a
size.
nice space,
Uh,
right? Yeah.
yeah, a nice space. We have the regular veranda, no white walls, no, we have an excellent view. We were on port side, so we were not facing Castaway Cay the minute we arrived. But it was really a nice stateroom, as I mentioned, super spacious for us. And we were in deck 7. Uh, aft, deck 7
Yeah.
aft. But we managed things around, and I love deck 7 because you are just 2, 3 decks from the food and just a couple of decks from the restaurants. So, yeah, nice location.
Yeah. I was in a Category 3A. I got upgraded to a Category 3A, stateroom 10580. It's, again, one of these new concierge staterooms that after dry dock, after the Disney Dream went and got its little facelift, they've added a bunch of staterooms that are concierge. One of the things, and the staterooms are lovely, and you get upgraded. People always ask, "What do you get?" They always ask us, "Is concierge worth it?" I dodge the worth it question. Go find our concierge show, but it's very nice. Here's one of the things so Disney Cruise Line generally has a queen bed. For concierge, it's a king bed. It's nice. And then most of the other staterooms have one bed that is a couch, and it's not a fold out couch. It flips over and gives you a twin bed, and then one that comes down from the top. And sometimes you have a Murphy twin bed. These staterooms had a couch that did fold out, so it was like almost like what's bigger than a twin. It was bigger. The thing about that stateroom is then you could not maneuver around. And I'll send Jimmy a photo of how little space there was to kind of maneuver around. That part of the stateroom was kind of walled off once that bed was opened, so it was a little cumbersome stuff. I couldn't open drawers and stuff, so I kind of actually more prefer the twins that flip over, but lovely stateroom, great place to spend time. And I will say the ship looks phenomenal. Looks like it really did get a facelift. They cleaned up, replaced carpets, all those kinds of hard goods. And I will quickly tell you, and I have I'll put a post on if you go onto my Instagram, jensentravel.com, Jensen Travel on Instagram, I will put a view of the concierge stateroom. So the concierge stateroom with these additional is probably double the size. The other thing they have is they used to have a fairly dedicated deck space for concierge. They've now stretched that all the way to the full starboard side, so it takes up on that deck 12. The forward area is still available. It's an adult only area. It has I think they call it Satellite Falls. That's still available for everybody, but just behind that, on the starboard side, goes all the way, so you can actually see the water from the concierge deck, which is really nice. And on the Dream, the concierge lounge has a Hercules theme, so it's again very nicely done, well done. Let's talk a little bit about Halloween on the High Seas, and I'm going to again start with Hannah, because she has a 3-year-old who probably with this. How'd Owen like Halloween on the High Seas?
He absolutely loved it. He cannot stop talking about trick-or-treating on board.
On
In
a
fact,
ship.
he doesn't want to trick or treat any other way. So that was a big highlight for him. But he really enjoyed just having the Halloween tree in the atrium. Is a kid who loves Halloween, seeing those decorations as soon as you got on board was very exciting. He loved some of the seasonal treats that they had, like on our Halloween night. They brought a spider cake to the table, and that was very exciting. He also loved, we didn't actually, I will tell you, we didn't do any of the character meet and greets, just timing and him being 3 and impatient. But even just being able to see the characters in their costumes was a big highlight for him. And then also the Mickey's Masquerade, the dance party, was fantastic because it's a way to see the characters in their costumes and be part of it without maybe like waiting in line for the meet and greet. So to me, I think Halloween on the High Seas and the very maritime cruises, it's like you take a really great Disney cruise and then you just add one more level to it. So it's
Yeah.
you
Talk a
still
little
get
bit
pirate
about
night and you get
your experience with the deck party, though, during the Halloween deck party, because you had an amazing experience. Mother Nature did not want that deck party to go on.
Yeah. So, and it was pretty funny, and these things can happen. So we got maybe 5 minutes into the deck party, and there was like a couple of big raindrops, and then the bottom just absolutely dropped off, and it was wind and heavy rain. And I have to tell you, it was pretty funny because the characters just, obviously ran off the stage, but because it was so chaotic. I mean, Daisy was literally over by the soft serve looking for the character attendant.
Get
She
me
was
out of
over there,
here.
like, didn't know where to go. It was pretty funny, but I have to say, Disney Cruise Line, I mean, they got everybody out of there, and I mean, it was minutes, and they cleared the deck. And then they made an announcement, and they started the Mickey's Masquerade Party from the beginning in the atrium, 30 minutes later. So we got to see the show a second time inside where it was dry. So these things can happen, especially because Halloween is during hurricane season, and Disney handled it really well. And it was kind of funny to watch. So, no harm, no foul, and these things can happen, and we still got to see it.
Guess what? There is weather out there. Luz, how
Yeah.
was your experience with Halloween on the high seas?
Well, I believe, Chris, that the experience begins the moment you set foot on the cruise ship, on the ship, right? Because all the decoration of the fall decoration, but especially the Halloween decoration of the Mickey pumpkins on the atrium, is really wonderful. Where we live, we don't celebrate Halloween as much as the United States, but man, Disney Cruise Line really upgraded the game for us because
Yeah.
it is really beautiful. The ship is beautiful, but with all the decorations, it's really something wonderful. On the first night of the voyage, you have the lining of the tree. Each ship has a tree, or ours on board the Dream. The name is Grim. So the first night there is a special ceremony, and the tree gets light up. Super nice. We loved the experience. And then there are characters on their Halloween costume. That happens the day that you are going to have the Halloween on the high sea celebration, also the Masquerade parade. There are two parades, and there are two parade the two Masquerade parades, and they do this because so the people who has the early dining time can go to one party, and the people who has the late dining can go to the other party. Well, for us, it was windy, yes, but it was not raining. We got to see the whole party, all the characters dancing, and we did a lot of meet and greet. We did the meet and greets with the Sanderson sisters, very popular.
Mhm.
Minnie, Mickey, and Clarabelle wearing their costume, and also their costumes, and also Mickey, Donald. We have a lot of experience we experience a lot of meet and greets. We didn't do Captain Jack Sparrow because the line was, oh my God, so long. And we didn't want to spend too much time waiting in line for that particular character because we wanted to do some other stuff. So
Right.
we did a lot of Halloween. We did a lot of Halloween stuff, as I mentioned, the meet and greets. We tried the special food, and yes, the server bring a spider cake to our table for my daughter.
That's right.
She was kind of scared because
She was
he was so
kind of. She was like
mysterious.
freaked out. Like she didn't know what to
Yeah,
do.
yeah. What is that? Yeah, he was kind of mysterious about that. He was covering the cake and everything.
Yeah.
And then he does this, and she was like, oh my God, what is that? But
And
it
she
was
refused to
so
eat the head of the
funny.
spider. That was not. That was
Yeah.
not in her. One of the things that I
Yes.
did for this cruise is I got the special package. You can you can pre-order and have your room decorated. They have birthday ones for holidays. They have a holiday one. It is adorable. And I actually brought Luz up to check it out as well when she was with me. So it has this. It was funny because we changed staterooms. I had to orchestrate a little bit, and I didn't like the second day of the cruise, and it hadn't made the transfer. So I went and checked, and they came and they decorated it that night. So I come in and get video so I could show you guys. Um, But and it's funny because the folks who had that up came up to our dinner table one night and apologized that it didn't make the transfer. And I'm like, okay, if the worst thing that happens to me is my package gets delivered a day later, I'm doing fine, by the way. So so they were great and were deeply apologetic. I was totally fine with it. The package comes with a blanket. It comes with this some banners. I brought the banners down to Owen, so his door was decorated with the banners. And the banners, I don't know if you noticed, but the banners were kind of felt. They weren't just like paper. They were kind of felt, and they glowed in the dark. Did
Yeah.
Owen get a kick out of those?
Oh, he absolutely loved them, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh shoot, we should have ordered this package. And they're great. We took them home with us because, to your
Awesome.
point, they're substantial. They're something that you could reuse on your next Halloween cruise or at home to remember the good times that you had.
The other thing, and
Yeah.
Elaine, I think you'll get a kick out of this. Elaine, they had a pillow that is probably, I mean, it has to be 2 feet, maybe 1.5 feet tall. It's big. It's not, and one side is Minnie, one side's Mickey, and it's a ghost with the Mickey ears. This thing glows in the dark, and when I
I
say it
saw
glows
that
in the,
pillow on your pictures. I
I,
saw that pillow on your pictures. I'm like, dang, that is a cute pillow.
it is totally adorable. It glows in the dark. But I mean, it glows in the dark. It was like there was one point I roll over in bed and it's like a beacon is going off next to me. I like had to put on my mask and I finally took a blanket and covered it up because this thing glows in the dark. It was like, okay, I've never seen something like this. That I mean, it's like a real ghost, for goodness sakes. Very impressive, very cute. I thought that the package is, I forget what it is. It's you know, a little bit less than 200 if I remember correctly. But it's I thought it was. How often do we use this word with Disney? I thought it was a good value. Well, I always think Disney's a good value because I do them all the time. But I thought it was not bad thing. Very fun. If you have kids, they're going to get a big kick out of it. So, that was my big, well, aside from Concierge, that was my second big splurge for this trip was to get to check that out. Let's touch briefly on hurricane because it's funny. While I was on board, I had a couple of clients who reached out and said, "Oh the hurricane is my cruise going to leave on time?" And we have a whole podcast about hurricanes, so go and find that, and we talk to you about it. Elaine, the thing we always remind folks about hurricanes is Disney's going to keep you safe, and unless there are really, really extreme situations, they're not going to cancel the cruise, right?
That is correct. That is correct. And even, we're still kind of dealing with that this week as we are typing this. On Wednesday night, I actually shot off an email to all of my clients that were sailing this weekend, just kind of as a bon voyage email. And I said, we haven't heard any changes. Like, so far, everything's going forward. Of course, the next morning, I did get an email from Disney Cruise Line saying that the Treasure was rerouting a little bit. But that's the thing with the ships. It's not like you're not on land. It's not a stationary thing. The ships move, so they try very hard to keep your cruise in place. The itinerary may completely change, the route might completely change, but they are going to sail if they are able to sail. And in this case with the Treasure, they needed to remove stopping at Falmouth, Jamaica, but they added a stop at Lookout Key, which is a wonderful surprise. They don't that's the first time I've seen them do that, but that was an awesome surprise for them. So that's the thing. The only time that they typically have to alter the start or the end of the cruise is if a hurricane is sitting on top of whatever port you're sailing out of. Then they may say, wait. What they'll generally do is they'll send out an email and they'll say, okay, delay whatever your port arrival time is by 4 hours or something like that. Or they may keep you on the ship longer and delay getting back. But again, they make all of these calls very, very, very late in the game. They really, really do. Disney Cruise Line typically does not make any weather-related changes until the day before or even the day of, for the most part. So it's kind of one of those things that we don't really have answers till it happens, but you get an email and we get an email as soon as they make the decision. So,
And one of the questions we often get is, can I cancel? You can cancel, but it will be on you unless Disney Cruise Line cancels. So if you have vacation protection plan, there may be read whatever vacation protection plan and what weather. My guess is most vacation protection plans will give you leeway if they'll come into play if the cruise line cancels. If they don't, it won't be covered. So just be aware of it. And as I say, we have a whole podcast about hurricane. But Luz, I mean, I don't know about you, but we just really had the weather was phenomenal on this trip. I mean, we had the one couple batches of rain, but by and large, my goodness, could 10 out of 10 or 9.5 out of 10. How's that?
Yes, weather was perfect, really. We enjoyed the Castaway Key day. Oh my God, we did so much. We did so much, Chris. I think I burned
And
myself,
you're good to
really.
transition. Let's talk about excursions and talk a little bit about Castaway because you've been to Castaway before, of course. What did you do on Castaway Key?
Well, we rented a bike and
Awesome.
yeah, we did a lot of that. We went to the point where you can go up and see the ship. How is that called? The tower.
The
The
tower.
tower,
Yep.
okay. Yeah, we were biking around 1 hour and a half, maybe. And then we went to the adult beach for the first time and forever,
Wow.
because my kids weren't old enough to go to the adult beach, right? So we always stay at the family beach, and this was the first time. It's super nice, especially if you have a cabana. If you have a cabana, the adult beach is excellent because you just go out from the cabana and you have the sea all for yourself. But honestly, we love the family beach because there's a lot of activities. You can do a lot of things on the family beach. So we had a wonderful day at Castaway. We did a lot. I say that before, and we also snorkel. We also snorkel in
Oh,
the
that's awesome.
family beach. I have some shoots from our camera, from our GoPro camera that can
Yeah.
go inside the water, and you can find all the statues. And they have new ones. They have new things down there now. We found the Monsters Inc. door, the Boo door.
Oh
Also,
my
we
God.
found the Daisy Mermaid. That was new for me. And a lot of things happen on the island that you really need to go and find what can you do because there's a lot of things to do.
Hannah, talk a little bit about your excursions, both at Castaway and at Cozumel, and particularly let's start with Castaway and talk about the accessible, because I know in Cozumel it was a little challenging with the accessibility, even though you had an accessible excursion, it was a little challenging, but let's do
Mhm.
Castaway first.
Yeah, so Castaway, I mean they truly cannot make it in any easier because it's Disney, it's Disney's private
Right.
island. So I chose to take my scooter off of the ship. So what I did was and we were at the family beach with my 3-year-old. So I literally just drove my scooter all the way to the family beach, which actually was a lot of fun both for my son and for me. So we did that. Now you can, if you're using a standard wheelchair, there is a ramp and they can get you on the tram. But if you're using a scooter, you're just going to drive it to wherever you're going. Each of the tram stops, there are beach wheelchairs. So these are wheelchairs that you can take through the sands, even up to the water. And they have plenty of them. I was very pleasantly surprised. I was
Lots.
worried about if I would be able to, yeah, get one of those since they are first come, first serve, but they are located at each of the tram stops, including Serenity Bay. There also are, at the family beach, there are two areas that have a mat that goes all the way to the water. So if you were not able to transfer into a beach wheelchair, you could still experience the beach, which I think is really incredible. I
Amazing.
saw some people
So
taking
amazing.
advantage of that. Yeah, absolutely. So,
And it even
so
had
that was
the
great.
one spot that I saw even had a matted area, so with lounges. So if
Yeah,
you didn't want to do the whole, with the big tires, the wheelchairs,
yeah.
you could still have a place to go, and then the mat was right there to get you out to the beach. I was really impressed. So
Yeah,
really cool.
absolutely. So, and I parked my scooter, right the entrance to where I went down to the beach with no problem, and Disney said I could park it wherever. And also the cast members, both on the ship and at Castaway, were extremely helpful with things like the buffet. So, and I would be like, no, no, I'm okay. And but of course it's Disney, so like, no, we really want to help you. So, I had cast members help me get something to drink and help me get items from the buffet. And so it could not be easier. And that was really special for me, getting to have that beach day experience. I was able even to get in the water at one point with my son. And so that was a really special day for us.
Awesome.
Now, so we did decide to do a port adventure in Cozumel, which was it was a bold choice, but last time I went to Cozumel, I did not go to the beach and I regretted it. So I was like, I am going to the beach in Cozumel. So we booked the Kuza Beach all-inclusive day pass. And
Yep.
I was told when I booked it that they did once I got there that there were accessible features, but I would need to be able to get on a motor coach to get from the port to the beach itself. So there's not an option if you're not able to do that. You do have to transfer from your wheelchair, take 3 steps up, and sit down. So that was a little challenging. Also, you can only bring a standard wheelchair with you, so there is not an option to bring
No
a
scooter.
scooter. Once we got there, it was fantastic. They took really good care of us. There was an accessible golf cart that took us from where they dropped us off on the motor coach directly to the beach. So that was great. They also had beach wheelchairs there, and the staff was incredibly helpful. I had some of the staff actually help push me in the wheelchair. Again, help me with the buffet, things like that. So it was really special to be able to do that. I really didn't think it was possible. And actually, aside from accessibility, I would definitely recommend that Port Adventure. It was a beautiful beach. They had a wonderful lunch buffet. It's all inclusive, including an open bar. The staff was really great. There's activities for kids. There's a playground. They have like a piñata party. They have live
Wow.
music. So it's, more work than Castaway Key, but if you're looking for a family, and it was very family friendly, I will say that. They did tell me that day they had, I believe, almost 1,000 Disney Cruise Line guests
Wow.
on that port adventure.
Did
So
it feel
almost a
crowded?
third. No, it really didn't. Especially they kind of section you off when you arrive. You have a section of a beach for you. So, and they help you find a chair, and there's lounge chairs with umbrellas, and there's 2 restaurants, and I think 3 bars. There is family beaches, but there's also an adult beach. So I thought it was a really, really lovely experience. I think the adult price is somewhere around $90. So I felt like it was a good value, especially for the lunch and the experience and the drinks as well. One thing I do want to point out, I had my parents with me, and you really need to have a caregiver with you who is able-bodied to be able to push a beach wheelchair and help with a transfer, things like that. So that was something I thought about, ideally, I would have had my husband there, and maybe it would have been a little bit easier. But you really do need someone with you who can, really push the wheelchair. Because those beach wheelchairs, if you've never seen one before, you're right. They have these massive tires, and they're not exactly maneuverable, but
And I
still,
was talking.
we had a
I was
yeah.
talking to your mother, and your mother was not thrilled about having to push that wheelchair. So she
I
was
know.
like,
She
that
was not. And I will tell
was
you,
not
my
the highlight
mom
of her
is
trip.
yeah, my mom's a little spoiled. Like she likes her castaway experience. She likes to lounge. So like my son and I and my dad had a great time, and my mom was like, I'll go to the spa next time. So but that's her style.
This is labeled, by the way. I had looked it up earlier. It's labeled as Beach Break. It's CZ120 if you're looking on Disney Cruise Line Port Adventures. $49 for 10 and up, $39 for ages 3 to 10, and your infants are free. So
I
or
think
included.
we might have had a different one because we had the all-inclusive pass, which
Okay.
does include and that one for the adults I know was I believe $89. So but they
Okay.
have different ones. So yeah, but we did the all-inclusive, and I felt it was worth it for the lunch and the drinks. But and it was a beautiful beach, and it's a new resort. They're adding new things to it. I say resort, it's not actually a place you could stay at. It is specifically built as a day excursion, but they're building, looks like a water park, and everything is really well
Great.
done.
Awesome. I will quickly mention, because I've mentioned it before, I wanted to try this. I've done this excursion before. It's called the Clear Boat. And I know oftentimes you hear glass bottom boat, and then you get
Gracias.
on board, and it's like a little,
Gracias.
shoebox of a hole down on the ground. It's horrible. And you can't really see anything. This is a plexiglass boat. You pick it up right off the ship, so it's nice and easy. I don't think it would. I didn't look at accessibility options. It seems challenging to be in terms of accessibility if you can't walk. But the nice thing is you can basically snorkel. You go over. They take you over things, and you can just look off the bottom of the boat. Literally, it's a clear boat. And they take you to a couple places where we saw starfish, we saw rays, and then they take you to a section where you get to snorkel. I loved it last time. I loved it again this time. I thought it was well worth it, and a fun way to spend a day. And it's about 2.5 hours, so it's not one of these all day trek things. If you want to go into Cozumel, you can still do that kind of thing. So I thought it was a lovely way to spend a day. Luz, I want to quickly talk about, because we got to have Palo brunch together, and it was your daughter's first time to get up to Palo, and it was lovely. They brought her up a plate and everything. I should say we had a server, Kobe. Kobe's awesome. I mean, they're all awesome up there. So whoever you get, you're going to love. Kobe, I had Prima Notte the first night, and Kobe was our server. And then we had Kobe for Palo brunch, and then we went up for Palo dinner as well. And we had Kobe again. And I loved him. And it's not because he turned to me and he said, "You have good energy. I like you." And I liked him too. So it was a mutual fanfare. But Luz, how did your daughter, how did you and how did your daughter like Palo brunch?
Oh my God, it was amazing. My
Yeah.
husband and I have had palo brunch before, but just the two of us, because again, the kids were not old enough.
Right. Not old
And
enough.
this was, yeah, no, but this was her first time and she enjoyed. They were so nice, as you mentioned, the server, but all the team were really nice with us, but especially with her. They made
Yeah.
her made her feel special, and that was something that we really appreciate. She's a little bit shy, and we like to watch what we eat, but the food was, oh my God,
Yeah.
exceptional. I think we had like uh, 10 or maybe 12 plates. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. We ate so
We
much,
ate everything.
and
We ate everything.
yeah, yeah.
It
with
was really
dessert
awesome.
and
I
everything.
think your daughter was a little bit intimidated by the concept that she could get
Yes,
anything she wanted, and so she kept like
yes,
under and like you can get whatever you want, you can have it, it's okay. So I kept like it's okay, you can have it, you can have it. Talk a little bit about
yeah.
one of the questions we often get, and I'm taking my 14-year-old on the Disney Destiny, well, on the Treasure, and then the Disney Destiny coming up. Um, how did she enjoy the I kept pushing her to go to the 1820 society, and she did, I think, once. But did
Yeah.
she enjoy that? I think sometimes 18 to 20 year olds can feel like, okay, I'm on a Disney cruise and I'm not a kid and I don't fit into the kids clubs, and so they do have this thing called the 18 to 20 society that they can go to, and they do have organized, they don't have a specific place like the other kids clubs, but they do have
Yes,
organized
exactly.
activities. But how
Yeah.
did she enjoy her experience generally?
Yes, she did. She's a little shy at the beginning, but once she is getting to know all the people, she is much better. Really, she enjoyed the 1820 society. As you mentioned, there's not a place for that for them like Vibe or Edge, where they have
Right,
their club, they have their space. No, this is a couple of activities that one of the cast member organizes for them. There are scavenger hunts. There's golf, mini golf, of course. They can go watch a movie. They can go eat something. Also, I remember they were meeting one of the characters on this
yeah,
special on their special activities. Yes, she enjoyed it a lot, and it's because mainly there are no adults on these clubs, and the cast member or the crew member is also very young, because you know that kids at that age, they don't want to be told what to do, and not especially by adults, right? So
right,
they choose a crew member that is almost their age, but of course he is legally an adult. They bond really quickly, and they are like a little gang. You know, they go around the ship, they go running, and they sometimes they yell, because they are doing a lot of things. And she really like it. Yeah, my oldest son also on on one of the cruises we did previously, he joined this club. Oh my God, and he was super happy with with all the guys. They also changed, they gave their emails, their Instagram
yeah,
account.
right,
Also to this day, he keeps contact. He keeps in touch with some of them. Sometimes we were like, okay, it's time to sleep, but where is he? Oh, he's on the club, because they have a lot of stuff to do, and they really like it.
yeah. Um, Hannah, we did it was one of my favorite shows that we've done. We did a two-part series when we traveled back in March on the Disney Fantasy with your son. But anything you would update to that? Anything traveling with a 3-year-old? Anything different or that was unexpected for you?
I think my takeaway is just like a Disney cruise is our easiest vacation is a
Yeah,
family. Like I feel like my son, he eats well, he sleeps well. It's such a good balance of familiar Disney things like meeting characters, but also just going to the pool and going. My son loves the Finding Nemo splash pad that's on board the Dream. I mean, he could spend all day there. So it's nice to kind of have those moments to slow down and spend time together. We found that we've done our last cruise, we did late dining. We moved back to early dining, the main dining at 5:45, and that works best for us. Just kind of that routine of eating dinner and then either seeing the show or running around the pool deck and then going to bed. Just we were able to keep him on a more normal schedule, like he would be at home. But he we didn't even attempt the Oceaneers Club this time. And I know that sounds crazy because I think he would really love it, but my son is he wants me to go into the Oceaneer Club with him.
Right.
So he loves an open house. He doesn't so much want to go by himself. And honestly, for this cruise, it was okay. We enjoyed it, especially having my parents. It was really great
He
quality
had his
time.
grandparents there. My goodness. That's
Y-
like,
Yeah, exactly. So that was not a deal breaker for us. And I think, if we had, there are ways that I think we could have introduced it to him, but we were able to spend really nice quality time together. And yeah, it's funny after so he actually cried getting off the ship yesterday.
oh, that's so sweet.
And it was very sweet, and he was like, "No, no, we need to get back on the Mickey boat. We don't need to go home. Home is over." So he said, "I live here now." So I thought that was really sweet, and I asked him, I was like, I was like, "Do you like Disneyland or you like the Mickey boat?" Mickey boat. So as a Disney Cruise Line fan and a mom, like even though it was very sad and sweet that he was crying when we left, it's a good feeling to know, like, okay, this was
He had a good
that
time.
core memory, that memorable vacation.
One of the things that I was reminded of, and this was because of Owen. Owen was having, I saw him one point, and a big grin on his face in that Finding
Mm-hmm.
Nemo splash pad.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, there are specific age limits on that. They don't allow
Mm.
anybody. So just be aware that the age groups are pretty firm now. Disney is really
Mm-hmm.
watches that. So just be aware of those things. And the same goes through for the 18 to 20 society. Like Luz's daughter couldn't have gone into Edge and Vibe because she was too old. So just be aware of those things. It's an important thing. Sorry, Hannah, go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, you're exactly right. So we had that realization as well, is that the
And
cutoff
maybe
for
one of
the
his
splash
last
pad
times in
is.
there, right?
Yeah, so yeah, it's age 4 and younger. So he's almost 4, so we've got a little bit more time. So I'm hoping he just naturally progresses to the aqueduct and in the pools and those
Right.
kind of things. But he for now he loves it. And I will say, you want to be able, we weren't able to this time because of me having a broken leg, but normally I would trade off who's in the splash pad. So
Right.
because you might be in there a while, and it's can be a little overwhelming. It's very busy.
Yeah, your dad was put it in. He won his grandparents' star, so awesome. I
Oh, for
think on the
sure.
Disney
Yes.
Fantasy, there's an additional splash pad, which is kind of under the aqua end, like by the near the end of the aqueduct, and I don't believe
Hmm.
it has an age restriction, so kids
Hmm.
can still go there, which is nice. Um, and most of our time was spent saying, "Oh, I wish Elaine were here." And what would Elaine be doing now? And Elaine, for you, I went and got the rainforest package for a crib for the whole cruise for the rainforest room, and spent some time sitting on those lovely tile beds. And yes, I even fell asleep. So I did that for you.
Perfect. Perfect. That's exactly what I would be doing.
A couple of notes about I did a couple of spa things which I hadn't done in a while. One of the concerns people often get about the spa is getting asked about stuff afterwards, basically upsold. They were not doing that. They tell you what they're using, but I did not feel pressure to buy. It was much better experience. So just be aware that I think they've toned that down. I think they've heard us saying, ugh. So that was a much nicer experience. They also on if you do the survey is now done electronically via the app. And I didn't, you used to get so much pressure about doing excellent because it makes a difference of whether how I succeed. I did not feel that kind of pressure this time either. Um, and which was also nice. I'm I'm happy to give excellent reviews to excellent people, and our dining team was superb. So, but there wasn't the pressure. So, Luz, Hannah, anything else we are forgetting? Elaine, anything you wanted to ask about before we wrap up?
No,
I don't think so.
share.
Yeah,
I just wanted to share with you
Luz, go
guys
first.
my trick or treat bag. Something that
Yes.
is important to know that is that there's no unlimited. trick or treating on board the ship. Like there maybe is at Magic Kingdom where you can go on each station and they're going to give you candy and give you candy. No, they are going to give you the bag with maybe a dozen treats, a dozen candy, including chocolate. Um, you can go and put yourself in line again, and they are going to handle you another bag. But that's it. Also, there's no special candy for people that cannot eat sugar, like maybe on the parks. In the parks, you receive sugar-free candy or special dietary needs for the candy, for the trick-or-treating, okay? Here on the ship, no, you only get this kind of candy. And just if you make the line, they are going to give you this, and that's it. There's no trick-or-treat stations around the ship.
Right.
But it's okay. If you don't want to participate in the Halloween activities, you can do whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah. Hannah, anything else we should have noted?
No, I don't think so. It had been a while since I'd done a Halloween on the high seas cruise, and it's definitely I need to go ahead and book one for next year because we had such a good time. I told my parents that really I feel like the participation level is good or even greater than in the parks. I saw lots of really great costumes
Yeah.
and people that were just, obviously having such a good time. And Lou's touched on it, but just, you get that Halloween feeling throughout the cruise. They're playing Halloween music, and it
Yeah.
really is a special experience. And if you're thinking about booking a Halloween on the high seas cruise, now is the time to do it, and you'll be glad that you did.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yes, that's right.
Elaine, anything you had questions about that we didn't touch on?
I don't think so. I mean, it feels like everybody got to do new things and everything was
Good time was
successful.
had by all. Yeah.
And so that's a good cruise.
We always say we'd love for you to book your cruise. If you want to do a Halloween on the high seas cruise, Dreams Unlimited Travel would love to help you. It literally helps pay for what we're doing here. And I'll tell you, I was a Dreams client before I was a Dreams agent, so I get the value. Best place to start, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. You get there, there's a cruise ship. You click on that. The first page will ask your itinerary and your cruise date. On the second page, at the very top, there's a pull-down menu. It will have all the Dreams agents, Hannah, Luz, Elaine. You can select your favorite, or you don't have to. All the Dreams agents are so awesome. Elaine, if folks want to reach you outside of asking for a quote, how do they do that?
My email is Elaine, ELAINE, at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com.
Hannah, folks can, of course, always see you on the Dis Unlimited and Dis, and you're writing stories, and I don't know when you sleep and raise a child. My goodness, I don't know how you do it. But if folks want to reach you outside of booking, how do they do that?
Absolutely. It's Hannah, HANNAH, is the same spelled backwards, at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. And yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Ask me all your weird detailed questions about going on a Disney cruise with kids or Halloween on the high seas, because those are the details that made me want to be a travel agent.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hannah's great about sharing. When she does get questions, she shares them with us, so then we can talk about them here, and because we love hearing what you guys think. So, Luz, how do people get in touch with you?
Thank you, Chris. You can reach to me at Luc at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. And we also have a Spanish podcast for the Sea Disney team. That is the Spanish part of Dreams. So maybe you don't need a Spanish podcast, but you have a friend who speaks Spanish and they can join us on cdisney.com.
And we have a bunch of Spanish-speaking agents. So Luz is one of them, but with Federico,
Yes,
we
I
have a bunch
am.
of folks who, yeah, it's awesome. And if you want to reach me, Chris V at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. One of the people who I got to meet on board, Todd, said, I always note that it's Chris V, not Chris. Yes, there is a Chris who works here. So it's Chris V at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. I'm also on social media, Yensid Travel on most social media platforms. Yensid is Disney spelled backwards. And it's also the Sorcerer and Sorcerer's Apprentice. Oh, and we've added a new way for you to reach out to us. You can leave us a message, dclshow.com/ message, and you can record a message. And we've had a few messages come through. In fact, we're talking about the 18 to 20 Society because Kelly reached out and said, I need to know about that. So I spent some time figuring that stuff out. And we're going to do, as I say, a show about teenagers coming up. So as always, a special thanks to our amazing producer, Jimmy Valdez. But always thanks to you for being here. We really appreciate it. Depending on where you're watching, hearing, seeing this, however you're getting the content, please like, subscribe, leave us a review. It really does help. And I know it seems like, okay, what difference does that make? It makes all the difference in the world. You want to help us. It's a great way to do that. And if we are doing a great job, we hope you tell us so. And if we're not, let me know why we're not. And we'd love to fix that if we can. To that end, if you have topics for us, you can leave those in the YouTube comments on the DCL fan Facebook page. A bunch of people talking about Disney Cruise Line. You can find that. Elaine manages that page, so you can find all sorts of stuff there, or just send us a message, dclshow.com/message, or send me an email, chrisv@dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. We went a little bit longer than we normally do, but so much to cover on this trip. So we hope it helps you out. Go have an amazing cruise, safe travels, and we'll see you real soon.